What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to analyze the tape of Asim Richards, but before we get into it, I do want to talk a little bit about the prospect, because at North Carolina, Richards was a left tackle, but for the Dallas Cowboys, I think he projects to guard solely based off the size. Now, it is interesting because although he is only 6'4", and generally speaking, tackles are usually taller than that, he does have an interesting wingspan, right? His wingspan is some of the longest that we've seen at the combine this past cycle. So it is interesting in that aspect, right? Super long wingspan, but he isn't the tallest, right? He's only 6'4". Also, I think he's kind of built more like a guard than a tackle, right? When you really look at the way he's kind of constructed. He's very thick lower half. He's very strong and physical, and he plays tough. At the same time, he isn't the fastest guy, right? So I think tackle is a little bit harder for him to play as opposed to guard. But we're going to go over all that as we kind of analyze his tape. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you do, please consider subscribing and definitely hit that thumbs up button. We're going to follow this guy over the course of his rookie season. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the tape. Now, I don't think Richards projects as a tackle in the NFL. I think he's going to be a guard in the NFL. And the Cowboys need a left guard. This guy could be it. Now, I don't know if he's going to start day one. Honestly, I think he needs to develop a little bit, but he does have some upside, and he does understand the game at a deeper level than most probably realize. You can watch this play here as a good example of just that. It's a split zone concept, and one of the things he's going to do is he's going to attack the inside of this defensive lineman. He's going to get his right hand, and he's going to push this guy to the outside. At the same time, he's going to adjust his body. And what he's trying to do is give his running back a lane. So as the defensive end is going to try to disengage here, Richards is going to try to continue to push this guy upwards, so a lane may develop underneath for the running back. Now, this is a pretty nice job in terms of understanding how to move a guy or how to get a guy out of the gap. At the same time, it's not a great job holding his block. And I think being a tackle versus a guard does make a difference in this instance. I think as a tackle, you're going up against an edge who's generally faster, but may not be as strong, versus if you're on the inside, a guy has more strength, but not as much quickness. So I think in that aspect, things do flip. But I'm really fired up to really get into this film breakdown. I think Richards is a pretty solid player, so let's get right into it. You got a zone run to the inside, and Richards has a really hard block to the inside of this two-eye technique defensive lineman, but he's going to get there. And if the running back hit this correctly, I think this play picks up more yards than it ended up going for. But it's still a nice run. But I do want to break this down in slow motion, because as the play's about to begin, you see the linebacker takes off. The linebacker is going to blitz to the inside. So now Richard has a much harder block, but he's still able to get there on the defensive lineman. You can see in terms of helmet placement, his helmet ends up to the right side of this defensive lineman, with the left guard and center blocking off the two guys. If the running back took this to the inside, I mean, look at the lane that the running back may have potentially had from the safety here to the cornerback on this side. The running back may have picked up a massive amount of yards. He obviously cuts it back to the left, but he misses that lane right there, and that lane only gets created because of Richards' ability to reach on that two-eye technique defensive lineman. So to me, that's a really nice job reaching by Richards. With that being said, let's go ahead and get to the next rep. Alrighty guys, let's go ahead and get into this next rep here. I do want to criticize Richards just a little bit in his technique. One of the things that's very clear to me is he's very inexperienced with the technique, which makes sense. He was a tight end before he became a tackle, so he doesn't have all that much experience, and it kind of shows when you guys really slow it down and watch his technique. He doesn't get vertical well, right? You can see he's going to go left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, and he's not really kick stepping. He's more of just kind of going back, and to me, that's the wrong way. If you're getting out of your stance as a tackle, you lose all leverage if you're kind of just backpedaling as opposed to kick stepping. Plus, you want to establish that half-man relationship, and you're not able to do that with the way Richards gets out of his stance. And in this instance, he's way too high, and you can see the defensive end ends up ripping and getting underneath him, and he's able to drive this guy right back into the quarterback. I mean, that right there is an absolute terrible rep. Now, obviously, I'm showing you guys this rep to tell you guys that I think as a guard, this doesn't happen. All right, as a guard, you're not put out in space the way you are as a tackle, and I think from a technique standpoint, a coach has to coach this guy up. So I do think he's a year away from really being there. in terms of his development. But I do think that with the proper coaching, a proper plan, there's a lot of upside. And I want to show you guys more reps as to why I think there's a lot of upside. All right, you guys, check this rep out here. You got a split zone. Watch the reach block by 72, the body positioning, the body angle, and the finish. I mean, to me, this is a really nice rep. This is exactly what I want to see from any offensive line. Tackle, center, guard, whoever it is, this is what I want to see. So this is a split zone with the guy coming off the edge there. And then all of these guys are going to step to the right. But the most important part of this play is as Richards gets out of his stance, he's going to take that angle to position himself to the inside of this linebacker. So right away, as he gets out of his stance, he gets up to that linebacker. He sets up. Not where the linebacker is, but where the linebacker has to go. Right? Notice how he doesn't go directly towards the linebacker, but where the linebacker is going to end up meeting him. And that's a good job processing and knowing where to position your body. Now, as he makes contact with this linebacker, look at how he finishes the block by sticking to him. Right? He doesn't let that linebacker break that contact. And honestly, if the running back hit this correctly, if the running back bent this back to the inside, I think he picks up more yards. Maybe doesn't get past this safety, but I think there's more yards to be had if he bent it back to the left. Either way, not a big deal. Richards, really solid block. Let's go ahead and get into the next rep. Richards is going to have an out block on the defensive end. And watch how he turns his body. The way he flips his hips and really gives his running back a lane. I mean, this is the type of stuff that's not often talked about. A guy understanding that, hey, when I have an out block, it's not just about sealing a guy off, but more about turning the right hip with the left leg back and really try to give your running back that lane. Right? The way Richards is able to take his left foot back, but the right hip forward and turn right there, that right there gives your running back a lane if your running back is going to potentially hit that gap. Now, the running back here is a little slow to really get there, but Richards does a really nice job, right? He definitely holds his block. He definitely knows the positioning, the angle. Mentally, this guy gets it. And to me, it's very clear on tape he gets it, right? So really nice rep right there. Let's go ahead and get to the next rep. Alrighty, guys. The defense is going to simulate pressure, and they're going to have this guy drop off here. And watch how quickly 72 recognizes and flips his helmet back to the inside. This is top tier processing. I'm going to let you guys watch it in full time. Bam, quickly gets to the inside, releases the left guard so the left guard can get up to the next guy. This is just a really nice job. Great job getting to the guy there. Releases the left guard to take the blitzing linebacker there. I mean, that's just a really nice job. And there's a reason why this guy is tasked with protecting arguably the #1 overall pick next year in Drake May. There's a reason why Richards is the starting left tackle to this quarterback. It's because he has that ability to be a really good football player. Now, obviously, this past year, he didn't have the greatest year on tape. And again, I think a lot of his struggles came to the fact that he was a tackle and not a guard. Because I truly think if he was a full-time guard over the past couple of seasons, I think he would have ended up going much higher in this draft. I think he would have been a top 3 to 4 round guy as opposed to a 5th round guy. Although that's not a big difference. I just think if there was more tape of him available as a guard, with the way this guy's kind of built, very thick hips, very strong, very wide wingspan. In fact, he has one of the craziest wingspans for a guard in NFL draft history. But he is only 6'4", right? So it's kind of interesting. But let's go ahead and jump forward and get to the next rep. You got another really nice rep here, processing with the defensive line game. He's going to take number 18, he's going to pass him off, and then he's going to come back around and take the blitzing linebacker. That's a really nice rep. From a mental perspective, this guy gets it. Very clear on tape. Showed you guys a couple of those reps already. It's a really nice job right there. With that being said, let's go ahead and get to the next rep. Alright, you guys, check this rep out here and watch Richards once again reach. He's going to be the backside block. And once again, he cuts off the linebacker. That's just a really nice run rep. Again, I know he's not the perfect prospect, but watching him in certain types of runs, whether he's frontside blocking on a split zone or he's the backside seal here as he gets to the linebacker, the guy does a really solid job in different aspects to his game. And this is why I think the guy's going to be able to translate. Super smart run blocker, really understands the angles and body positioning. That stuff right there translates to an NFL guard. Alright, you guys, I've shown you a couple of reps where Richards blocks out and he really forces the guy to kind of go upfield and he like seals it off from the backside. Here's why that's important. You see this rep here where he's going to block out on number 17 And he's going to flip those hips where the right hip's going to go forward, the left leg's going to kind of come back, and you're basically going to turn and ride. And the reason why that's important is right here. You're going to give that running back an alley to be able to go underneath you, right? So you're basically allowing him to go to the outside. Now keep in mind that's important because on this rep, number 17 technically has outside containment. He is the guy that technically has to force everything back to the inside. So if you're able to turn a guy, you're basically allowing your running back to potentially go outside because you're turning a guy, right? So in this instance, he's able to hit the corner, get past the linebacker, and he picks up 15 yards on this run. It's a really nice job right there. You got another defensive line game here, and watch Richards once again pick it up, pass it off. Really, really, really nice job right there to be able to keep your head up. Be aware of the D-line game potentially coming. Obviously, for him, it's a little bit easier because the DN doesn't really sell it. But he is able to quickly recognize it, get to that defensive tackle, and shut him down. It's a really, really nice rep right there. Let's go ahead and jump forward into the next play. Now, one of the things offensive linemen sometimes do is they'll take a step to the inside in the hopes that a guy will try to beat you to the inside, but really, you're not trying to beat him to the inside. You're just hoping he basically takes himself out of the play. And you see him do that right here. I mean, this is a really, really nice job. This past season, I saw the Cowboys offensive linemen do this. And you're basically going to take a step to the inside, as you see Richards do there. But really, you're opening up the inside, right? You want that defensive lineman to jump that gap. As you can see, he's going to really get that left arm of his right to the back of number 54 there. And then he's going to basically push this guy to the inside and seal it off. I mean, that's a really, really nice job being able to seal off the defensive man. And you see the running back pick up about 5 yards. It's a really nice job right there. Alrighty guys, check the rep out here. You got a down block on Myles Murphy, who's lined up in the 4-eye technique. And look at Richards absolutely move this guy out of the lane, which basically allows the quarterback to take it for a touchdown. Had the quarterback handed it off to the running back, I think it would have been the same exact thing. This is a really nice down block on a first-round pick right there. In my opinion, Asim Richards is a very interesting prospect. You know, I'm not 100% sure if he's the day one starter at guard. I'm going to say he's not. He's definitely going to have to develop. But I do look forward to watching him as he gets into the preseason, because I do think he has upside, and I do think he plays with a physical demeanor to him. And I think he is one of those guys that, although he was a tackle in college, he's more of built as a guard as opposed to a tackle, right? So as he gets into the NFL, if he plays guard, he's going to be so much different than what we kind of see on tape. You know, and he definitely has some of the small traits that I like to see in a guard. He's smart, and I think that goes a really, really long way. Plus, he is strong as hell. And I think that goes a long way, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was definitely a quick one, definitely a little bit different, right? We didn't get way too far into it, but I did want to just give you guys my thoughts and opinions and initial assessment of Richards. If you guys enjoyed this video, subscribe. We will be following this guy in the preseason as well as in the regular season, as well as some of the other offensive linemen. Thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.